All right, my friends, happy November 21st, and welcome to Master MicroStrategy, where we're working on mastering Michael Saylor's genius 7 days a week. Now, remember, this is not financial advice. Please consult a financial professional before you make any decisions along that line. But wow, we have some fun things to talk about here today. Of course, we're going to be getting into news. We'll be talking about tweets, some Saylor clips, all that jazz. So let's dive right in. Thankfully, the MSTR-tracker.com website is back up, as you can see. And we have some pretty cool things going on. The stock price is at $514, which is an 11% increase from yesterday. That brings the market cap to 118 billion. The S&P 500 ranking is now 85 out of 500. We broke the top 100. That is just fantastic for obvious reasons. Bitcoin's price is obviously at 97,000, so that is helping things out in the MicroStrategy world. Skipping on over here, you can see the Bitcoin value per share keeps going up. I think it was at 135 when I reported it last. Now it's at 143, $143 per share, which of course is really exciting. Um, oh man, the unrealized profit and loss for MicroStrategy is almost 16 billion now, 15.7 billion it looks like, for a basically 95% return. All these numbers just keep going up. Of course, again, there's going to be a time where they take a step back and they take a breather. Don't worry, they're just reloading, relocking, and going to be going forward from there, in my opinion, in my thoughts. Again, not financial advice. So really cool things here. You can see with this tracker, the latest that they have going on here, the NAV Premium has some really cool things going on. It's continuing to kind of go up and to the right, which if you kind of dive into this chart, you will know and understand that that is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but it is something interesting to track as we see MicroStrategy move forward. Let's move into a couple articles that I found interesting today. A lesson in FOMO: MicroStrategy stock price continues to soar. And they talk about what's driving the rally and why investors need to be cautious after recent gains. Again, it just seems like media does not really get what's going on. They are not doing their own research. They basically, in my opinion, don't have any knowledge about this. They're just trying to pump out a lot of articles quickly. That's why we're not going to spend a lot of time on these. But, they talk about the price surging, the parabolic risks. But the reality is this. I mean, you look at a chart like this, there are going to be people that finally capitulate and just FOMO in because they realize this is going one way. This is going one way. Of course, there's going to be this happening in the future, but this is, in my opinion, the way that we're going. So FOMO inbounds. The next I wanted to share is from Yahoo Finance. That previous one, by the way, was from Yahoo Finance as well. This one as well is from Yahoo Finance. MicroStrategy's magical Bitcoin buying machine uses some wacky math. And again, this is kind of just going into the wacky math, the what I like to call the flywheel effect that is happening, where MicroStrategy is issuing convertible debt. MicroStrategy is selling stocks, is selling shares of MicroStrategy at the market, ATM. They are doing these things. And when they're doing those things, they're then using that to buy Bitcoin. Then Bitcoin's price is going up as a result, which is making MicroStrategy able to borrow more money, to give more convertible debt, to offer more convertible debt, and to sell more shares at the market. And it's this flywheel effect where every aspect of that means MicroStrategy is winning. And it's not wacky math. It is just awesome math. The next article is over here at, let's see, what is this website? Cryptonews.com. MicroStrategy Bitcoin bet wreaks havoc on Wall Street. It becomes the second most traded stock after NVIDIA. I mean, think about that. In the entire world, that's Apple. That is Microsoft. That is, just think about all the biggest companies that are out there. The other Magnificent Seven, Amazon, fill in the blank. NVIDIA is number one, which is an insane story and unicorn in and of itself. And MicroStrategy, MSTR, is number two right now. That is just insanity. And they kind of go through, how they flip the Magnificent Seven, essentially with this one little surge that they've had here, and so on and so forth. The next article I want to talk about is Coinpedia, where they talk about how MicroStrategy is not overvalued. It has a lot of runway. At least this is from Charles Edwards is saying this. And he gets into, is MicroStrategy overvalued and why it's not, and why Saylor is needing to raise more capital. And all this jazz. So it does seem like some people at least are understanding this process and reporting on it. And it's just more news getting out there into the world. And it's good to see places like Wall Street Journal reporting on MicroStrategy and why MicroStrategy stock price is going parabolic. I mean, who doesn't love this chart? If you are an owner of MicroStrategy shares like myself, and hopefully most of you, this just kind of goes into why it's going bananas. But again, the key thing I wanted to highlight here is that this is the Wall Street Journal reporting on this. So this is getting in front of so many individuals who are traders, who are in the investment space. I mean, these are articles that stockbrokers can now share with their clients and say, look at Wall Street Journal reporting on MicroStrategy. And that's just some really cool and exciting progress that is happening. Moving into the tweets, Ben Workman is talking about the MSTR NASDAQ 100 tracking. And this is really exciting because this is the for the inclusion of MicroStrategy into the NASDAQ 100. And if that happens, then MicroStrategy is going to be getting a ton of passive inflows into the shares just automatically from this ETF, from the NASDAQ 100. And right now it's number 43 and the top 100. So it's easily in there. It just has to, kind of fill a couple other requirements and then it should get included. I think it's going to be sometime around November 29th. We'll keep you updated on that. And it's really cool to see, if you go down how this has been tracked, it was 52, now it's up to 43, and things just kind of keep moving in the right direction. And of course, what goes up will kind of retrace and come back. And we know that. And we're going to have, some times to realize that too and be okay with that. Jeff Walton, Punter Jeff, is talking about how MicroStrategy is now the 99th largest US company by market cap. I mean, think about this. This company was left for dead for decades. I mean, back it had his dot-com bust, boom, and then it had his dot-com bust right afterwards. And the company was a zombie company. And those are Michael Saylor's words for a long time, for 15 plus years. And Michael Saylor was trying everything. He was literally trying everything and he could not get it back on track. So it wasn't until 2020 when he finally figured out the Bitcoin standard and the Bitcoin strategy. And now look at what's going on. It's the 99th largest company in the world, the second most traded stock yesterday. Absolutely insane stuff. And this next tweet I just love because it just shows how quickly Bitcoin is catching up to the gold ETFs. I mean, all the gold ETFs, 121 billion. Bitcoin's already at 104 billion. I mean, this is going to flip. The flipping will be happening shortly. I wanted to share this tweet as well. MicroStrategy hits $120 billion market cap, adding 100 billion since September. It added 100 billion since September. I can remember buying back in September when it was around 20 billion. And to see that it's gone to 100 billion in just a short time is absolute insanity. I mean, this chart just shows that. So let's go to the last clip that I have for you here today. And it is 5 minutes and 38 seconds long, but I promise you it is worth every single second. I am going to speed this up to just 1.25 because, I know you can handle that and we'll make it happen. But this is such an amazing 5 minutes. I really hope you listen. So we'll let him take it away.
Michael, there's a perception that your stock trades at a premium to the intrinsic value of Bitcoin that you hold in the core business. Is that your view? And if so, what explains it? Is that the Saylor premium?
No, that's only a perception of people that haven't been paying attention or don't really do any research. If you actually logged into our earnings call, or if anybody studied the company, that's kind of like saying there's a perception that Microsoft trades at a premium to its underlying assets. Well, yeah, it does. It trades 50 times greater than its net tangible assets. So does Apple, so does Standard Oil, so does every operating company. So the myth, right, the misunderstanding here is people don't understand what our operating business is. Our operating business is a treasury operation that's securitizing Bitcoin. And the primary use that we offer to the marketplace is we offer high volatility, high leverage equity, like 2x Bitcoin in the equity or 1.5x Bitcoin. And that's very valuable. If you're an options trader or you're an investor, you would rather have 1.5x or 2x leverage on the equity. And the way that we create that in a systemic fashion is we strip the risk, the performance, and the volatility off of Bitcoin, and we sell fixed income instruments to the fixed income market that can't buy Bitcoin and doesn't want the equity and doesn't want the volatility. So when we sell a convertible bond, We sell a convertible bond at a premium. We might sell $1 billion bond, and we would probably capture 750 million or more in the arbitrage on the day we do the deal. And then if we hold the bond 6 years and Bitcoin goes up 21% a year, we make $3 billion on the back end. So we generate $3.7 billion of shareholder gains by arbitraging the duration on cheap capital with the return on a crypto commodity. And the people that bought the bond can't buy Bitcoin. They're convertible arbitragers, or they're fixed income investors, or they're institutional investors, or they have capital tied up in a 401k retirement plan. So if you understand those things, you realize that, it's kind of like, and I use this analogy, Jan, it's like if you looked at Standard Oil and you said, well, the company seems to be trading at a premium to the oil reserves. Well, no joke. That's because the company has a refinery and it creates kerosene. You ever try to put crude oil in a rocket, or crude oil in a jet, or crude oil in your car, or pour crude oil on a highway? The point is, you can't. You need asphalt, you need gasoline, you need kerosene, you're refining it. You can't do the refining without the reserves. So the Bitcoin reserves that we have a practical use. The use is they're collateralizing the fixed income instruments, and then they're creating volatility and performance for the equity instrument, which feed the option instruments, which create the volatility. And all of those things together mean that we're just kind of like a transformer. You got 480-volt three-phase power coming in one side of the property, and on the other side, you want to run your daughter's hair dryer, or or your washer and dryer, or your electric heater, or and we're
I think
stepping it down.
most three-phase electricity will blow out the hair dryer, but I get your point. I think it's
No,
listen.
I'm
I
actually
think it's
making the point that three-phase power is what I use to run my 500-ton yacht, but there's a massive transformer that steps it down,
yeah.
from the street. And what MicroStrategy is doing with its capital is it's transforming high voltage Bitcoin into low voltage securities. And so that to focus upon the premium is completely missing what's really going on here. And I'll give you one more number, which I think is pretty important, which is today, if you look at my tweet, I just noted we generated a yield of 41.8% this year, which is the equivalent of 79,130 BTC. That at 90,000 something a coin, that's $7.3 billion.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so if I told you, if I didn't tell you what we did, and if I didn't tell you how much Bitcoin we have, and the only thing you knew about my company was we generated 7.3 billion in earnings, delivered in Bitcoin, and we're growing more than 75% a year, how much do you think the company's worth?
Tremendous amount. But
Yeah,
I
a lot.
think that's a
And so
great
the point is,
it's a
and
great
then you would add
explanation.
in,
Yeah.
the Bitcoin position. So
Right.
really, the people that are focused on the premium are ignoring the fact that that's a company generating billions and billions of dollars of shareholder value a year in hypergrowth mode.
Well, there you have it, my friends. Another episode of Master of MicroStrategy, where we dive deep every single day, 7 days a week, into the genius that is Michael Saylor, and just getting one step closer, two steps closer. Maybe this episode helped you get 3 steps closer to really understanding this infinite money glitch, this flywheel effect that's happening, why MicroStrategy is just poised for great things ahead. Again, please consult a financial professional before you make any financial decisions. This is not financial advice. Nothing I say is financial advice, but I do hope you enjoy the content. And please remember going forward that this is for you. So if you are getting value out of this, I would love a like. If you want to subscribe, it'll pop up in your feed daily and you can just kind of make this part of your morning routine. And of course, any comments you share could definitely be used in a good way if you want them to in the future episode, because I love interacting with listeners and with people that have questions about that and make good points as well that maybe I missed or I misspoke in something. I mean, I'm still in the learning process as well of this whole MicroStrategy thing. I'm spending hundreds and now thousands of hours to become more of a master of MicroStrategy, but we're doing this together. And please remember, until tomorrow, there is no second best.